Hello, and thank you very much for joining me again on the Maven's Private Diaries. This is Susan, your Maven. Today I'm going to be exploring the power of burlesque and how it can give you confidence within and also be used as a vehicle to educate people around important topics such as breast cancer. So I'm speaking with the gorgeous Mya Dia Monte, a burlesque performer here in Brisbane, Australia. And we had such a great chat. Stick to the end. Let me know what your thoughts are, and if you'd like to send through some questions, there'll be information in the show notes for you.
Thank you for joining the Maven's Private Diaries, brought to you by thespicyboudoir.com, purveyor of high-quality, premium body-safe pleasure products for the over 50s and people living with a disability.
Hi, my name is Susan, and these are my private diaries. Occasionally I will host a guest speaker or read out someone else's diary, with their permission, of course.
Content warning.
This podcast contains the occasional swear word, lewd comments and discussion around sex.
Warning, warning.
You will no doubt hear the emotional pangs of a woman who has lost her libido to menopause. Listen at your own risk and enjoy. Hi everybody. Today I am with the fabulous Mya Dia Monte. How are you, Mya?
Very well, thank you, Maven. How is yourself?
Really, really good. It's a pleasure to chat with you today, and I'm still pinching myself that I had the good fortune of meeting you at the recent Big Boobie Bash run by the fabulous Georgia Lashman here in Brisbane, Queensland. And we had a really good chat during the event after you did your wonderful Check Your Melons, which I thought I've never seen anyone perform a Check Your Melons before. So could you give, for people watching and listening, could you just give a quick overview of what Check Your Melons actually is?
Of course. So it is essentially a presentation, I want to say. It has a speaking element and a partial performance element. And essentially it's all about giving yourself a breast examination. Obviously to provide awareness around sort of breast health and checking yourself. Breast cancer is something that does run in my family and is very close to my heart. But I wanted to make it really fun and lighthearted, and I didn't really want it to be I wanted it to be informative, but also very entertaining. So it has, I have a really cute little watermelon pin-up outfit that I wear, and some props that sort of display some of the sort of visual symptoms you might find while you are checking yourself. And then there is an interactive performance component where I actually do take out my own melons, and we do a sort of a breast check all together to the Hokey Pokey, which is a lot of fun. And it's sort of, I just wanted to make it fun and lighthearted. And I feel like the best way to get people on board with, especially like possibly uncomfortable topics, because not everyone's very confident with checking themselves and performing self-examinations of any variety on themselves. So I figured that if we could make it kind of fun, and if it's something silly you do in the bathroom with yourself, then that's totally fine. But yeah, it's just a little something that I developed to ultimately spread awareness and to support health for everyone who owns fabulous bosoms.
That's right. And men too need to check their breast area, because they're not
That's
immune
exactly
to breast
right.
cancer.
Yes, it is not gender specific. It is definitely something that can be, developed via pretty much any human, really, or animals as well, actually. But yeah, it's definitely not a gender specific thing. It is definitely not, and I don't want it to be a binary thing that only women do, or only them presenting, or women identifying, females do. It's definitely something that anybody who has breast tissue, men, women, non-binary, trans, the list goes on, everyone should sort of do for themselves to make sure that they're healthy. Yeah.
I would set you a challenge though with your creative mind to come up, and this will be gender specific,
Okay.
to do a performance that encourages women to go and have a pap smear.
Funny you say that. I actually, I'm also due for a pap smear. And being a woman who has PCOS, it is something that, cervical cancer is, I'm a much higher risk of cervical cancer due to that. So I had that little moment the other day. I was like, oh, well, I might have to sort of develop something for that too. So funny enough, great minds think alike.
Yeah. And for those listening who are not sure what PCOS is, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is something I also have. I've had that since I was a teenager, and lucky for me, I've lived with facial hair my whole life.
Me too, my love. Me
And
too.
yeah, so, it's just part and parcel. And it used to impact my sexuality. I never used to let any man touch me here around the throat because I shave. I shave every day. You wouldn't know it. Makeup's great. I've actually had some laser work done. So, ladies, if you're listening, if you have any dark hair on your face or in nether regions, you've got two choices. You can accept it or you can treat it, okay? Either way is good, but I do recommend if you decide to treat it, do it before your hair turns grey because lasering won't work on light coloured hair. So I had my sideburns done and I'm really, really glad I made the effort. And it wasn't that expensive either. So it cost me, probably about 150 all up for about 6 sessions. So it's really good. Yeah, no, I was really quite taken by your performance and also your gorgeous look, Mya. I love the dress that you're wearing. I know where it's from, but let's do a huge shout out to
Nylon
the
Swish.
beautiful.
Huge shout out to Nylon Swish. This beautiful gown is one of theirs. Unfortunately, my camera framing is not great, so I won't stand up and give you a 12. But check out their website. They have these beautiful, delicious, sparkly numbers in a range of colors and sizes. They are very size inclusive. They are super comfortable and very, very flattering on all forms. I have made
Also,
gowns myself. I have bought gowns myself. And my nylon swish is definitely one of my top three. So that I haven't custom, like this
yeah.
is my favorite buy from a company, one that I didn't custom make. So,
And here in Australia too. At
oh,
the
of
Spicy
course,
Boudoir, we stock the Rainer gowns in black and the beautiful, it's a pink colour. I just can't
like
think of the actual
peach,
name.
looks very peachy.
Peach cream, cream peach or peach
Yeah.
cream, and midnight black. So we absolutely love the nylon swish and the message that they hold dear. So tell me, what I'm curious to know, like I know my sexuality has boosted my confidence as a person and as a woman. Um, I've always looked at burlesque and wondered what it means to do burlesque. And so when we chatted that day at the Big Boobie Bash, and we'll make sure that everything we talk about today will be in the show notes of our chat. I wondered, we talked about Mya and we talked about your day personality, and
Yes.
I wanted to know Mya, what being Mya brings to your life and what it does for you, and what message you would give to other women thinking about joining or going along to a burlesque show to watch and to learn
Yeah.
how to do.
Of course. So my personal experience with burlesque has been something that, I mean, I've always, even as a child, like a very young child, loved vintage era and style and very classic uh,
Mm.
aesthetics and all that sort of stuff. Like I've always been really had a huge affinity for that, and I through growing up and when I discovered my sexuality and as a young woman, uh, it was interesting because I think a lot of this is a catalyst for a lot of people, but the movie Burlesque came out, and I was like, oh, this is wonderful. Like, I can't sing, but like, this is like such a vibe. Little did I know that that movie actually only has one actual burlesque act in it. Most of it's actually cabaret. But when I discovered that burlesque, in its essence, isn't actually singing or anything to do with such, it's the art of tease. So
Mm.
it obviously originated way back in the day, and it has had this such an evolution into. I mean, way back when in Prohibition era, uh, you couldn't drink alcohol and sort of, your liberties were not
Mm.
great. So people would go to these underground venues and they would illegally drink and they would illegally gamble and they'd see a comedian and they'd see some titties. And it was very much around kind of underground enjoyment. It was all risque and it was all, very taboo. Over the years, it's developed very much into a performance art. Modern day burlesque is not I guess it still very much invokes the art of tease, and it's still very, uh, I want to say sexual act in itself for the performer and the audience. It's a very intimate experience because you are
Mm.
showing your naked form, or partially naked. You don't. Some performers don't get all the way down to just pasties. But there's lots of different genres and categories, and a lot of our audiences are actually other women. Way back in the day, it was sort of, very much for the male eye. And these days, it's actually a lot of the men at shows are there with their partner. Or that, you don't, it's very much an embracing, experience. And it's very empowering to do, and it's very empowering to see. I remember attending my first burlesque show, and I was just in awe because I saw many different forms, many different sizes, many different styles. And I remember the first burlesque show I saw, a couple of artists that I had the wonderful experience of watching was Jacqueline Fury. And she is sex on legs, this woman. She is an absolute goddess. And I just died when I saw her. She looks like Greek paintings. Like, she is just flawless physically. And I died. I was like, oh my God. And then I saw another performer, and she was a plus size girl. She did a really sexy, she had this corset that was like leather and it had handlebars on it, like a motorbike. And I was like, it was just so amazing to see two different performers, so different, but both so wonderful. And I think that was something hugely inspired
Mm.
me. Then I went and
Mm.
attended classes and I met so many other, and it was something that I guess growing up as a female, we're sort of taught to be ashamed of our bodies in a lot of ways, or we put this stigma on ourselves to have this perfect aesthetic and to have all these things. And
Mm.
when I found this group of women who were not flawless, and we had everything from a size 4 or 6, very petite girls, all the way up to a size 26 in this class, and it had nothing to do with your body in its critical sense. It was all about the
Mm.
confidence you exude and how much, if you embraced yourself, the crowd embrace you. And I think that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest lessons that I found, and something that has
Yeah.
personally given me a lot of confidence.
I've never actually been to a live show.
Oh,
Excuse me. I've
really?
been to a no, not a full on live show devoted to burlesque. I was at a There's a gorgeous cafe here in Brisbane called Reload Espresso over at Salisbury, and I think it's near the Vanguard burlesque school or dancing school. And they occasionally they do dinner and a show, dinner and music. And there was a performance there. I can't remember the name of the performer at that time. There was a group, but there was also an individual. And for me, it was all about the facial expressions and the connection with the audience, and looking at people directly and coming up and shimmying to them, and bringing them into that moment, into that space with them. So, excuse me, I've always wanted to give it a crack. My physicality, my knees are crap from osteoarthritis, but I'm on a bit of a health journey happening in the next 12 months, and you're going to see me in silks and chiffon and pasties
I
eventually,
love this.
Maya.
I love this for you. Yeah, it's definitely something that it is all about that. It's about your confidence, and it's about you give permission to the crowd for what they can see. So it's sort of kind of
Yes,
like,
exactly.
have you ever seen a woman's wrist before as you're taking off your glove? It's all about like,
Mm,
I know that I'm fabulous. I'm going to show
mm,
you that, but only if I allow it. It's very, very
yes,
empowering. And even having those
yeah,
little
yeah.
moments of, direct engagement with an audience member, but the whole
Mm,
audience gets involved in that. And I think I performed at a lot of different type of venues. Sometimes you don't get to have that experience. You're on a stage quite far away from the crowd. But having the little prompts of, having your glove in your teeth and looking at the audience, like, yeah, this is your time. This is your time. Do you want me to take it? Having those little moments of you're commanding their reaction, and it's all about
mm,
they want to see you. They want to see your wrist or your fingers. They want to see you take off this item.
mm.
And it really that I in even in general, even in my day life, I believe that the most attractive thing you can be is confident. If you love you,
I
generally the
agree.
world will love you. But I've not loved my body my whole life. It was very much something that my physical acceptance of myself came very much through burlesque, and seeing other performers who, from a sort of society standpoint, are not the perfect woman and not the sexiest, whatever you want to call it, which is such nonsense because these women just command a room just with their
Mm,
presence, just with one look of their eyes or a raise of the eyebrow or a little flirty facial expression will just have
yes,
a room under their
I
absolute
think
thumb. Pardon?
I think I'm doing it now.
Bless your heart.
Raising my
But yeah, it's such an empowering experience, and even the community, other performers and producers, it's so supportive. I feel like
mm,
it's so rare. I've never experienced anything like it in my life, and I would never give it up.
mm.
Even if heaven
How
forbid the day comes and I can't dance anymore, I don't want to ever be rid of the community. So
well, that's a great segue. I was going to ask, it's great to hear that the burlesque community and that space is very body positivity all the way. What about age positivity? Have you got older women coming along
absolutely,
to explore?
absolutely, absolutely. I've seen babies who have just turned 18, and I've seen that there's actually quite a number of performers who are, more mature, and a lot of
Mm,
women who, like a lot of professional, semi-professional, solo performers, I want to say, are about in their 30s or 40s. It's not
hmm.
something that, and I think that just comes through, that at that general life stage. you are more confident with who you are, and you are more willing to step out of your comfort zone and do these things. But there's quite a number of women who are more mature. I think the oldest performer I've seen probably would have been, in her 60s or so. Um, there is a performer who does this act who comes out as an old woman. She comes out as, she wears a grey wig, and she comes out as a bit of a quote unquote nanotype, and she has
Right.
um, long boobs. She has these boobs that are in stockings, and they're long, and she actually flings them around like fire. Yeah, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's so entertaining. But it's still that art of tease. Like, it's very comedic, but it's still like, oh, she's going to take something else off. What's going to happen?
Mm.
So,
Mm.
yeah, it's definitely not just body inclusive. It's gender inclusive. It's there's a term that is used, and it's everybody is a burlesque body, as in every body is a burlesque body, which I absolutely love. I couldn't have said it better myself. That it's so perfect and accurate.
Fantastic. Oh, God, I've lost my voice then. No, it's certainly something that's on my to-do list, my bucket list. I did stand-up comedy last year for the first
Yes,
time.
that's so exciting.
It is actually, and that experience I keep as, it's like an invisible shield of confidence in front of me, because I know not many people would get up on stage and tell jokes and make strangers laugh and have that ability to make people laugh. I did that, so I'm want to then, invest my time and energy in getting into doing a burlesque performance, because
Absolutely.
that'll be my other shield as well.
Absolutely.
So, go on, Jamie.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, could we just come back to before we started recording? We were having a really good chat about breaking down barriers and having conversations around taboo topics and women's or sexual health of everybody, really. So, um, where do you want to take Maya in terms of getting that message out there? Is it something that you want to do full time?
Oh, look, if I could sustain it full time, that would be an absolute dream. Unfortunately, any creative industry, my partner and I are both creatives. He's a musician and a music teacher, so he actually does music, his whole life's music.
Mm.
Unfortunately, a lot of burlesque performers and creatives of all types can't fund themselves full time with their passions. So a lot of us have day jobs, as you're aware I do. And don't get me wrong, I love my day job, I really do. Um, but I guess I never, when I started or I brought Maya to life, did I ever think that I would be where I am today, being able to have these amazing opportunities and to share with the world things that are close to my heart, that I am passionate about, and have them be so warmly embraced. If I can be in essence myself and have this persona who I love, and I love to, it brings out, I think, in a lot of ways, the best of me. But if I can spread awareness and,
Mm.
positive messages and just love and, you know, or just positivity, I guess, is sort of all I ever wanted to do. If I can do that in a forum
Mm.
where it's educating people as well, I think education is such an important tool, and you don't know what you don't know. But if it's
Okay.
something that I have the ability to do, I can't, never in a million years did I ever think that was going to be a thing. And I cannot be any prouder of that. And it's definitely something that, even earlier part of our podcast, we're talking about possibly another thing that I could do around,
Mm.
you know, making it entertaining and fun and lighthearted, but having an educational message and having something that is a bit uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about. fun and engaging, and
Yes.
not scary.
I really think you made an impact that day at the Big
Oh,
Boobie Bash when you did your Check Your Melons event. I'll make sure that we stitch in a photo, and I think I even took a video. So if I'm allowed to share that, I'd
absolutely,
love to
please
include
do.
that in there.
Yeah.
Oh, Maya, I have absolutely loved talking to you today. I'm going to book you in again. I think we've got so much more to talk about. You
Absolutely.
look absolutely gorgeous. Love the
Aw.
hair, love the
Shout
curl,
out
love the
Nylon Swish
dress.
again.
Yes, yes. And if you'd like a gown, you could either go to Nylon Swish or come over to the Spicy Boudoir to look there as well. I wish you all the very best and as much passion in your life that burlesque can bring. It obviously it makes you glow. I can see that glow in your face. So I'll have what she's having, and you can too.
Yes. Maven, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so honoured to have met you at that day. Shout out to Georgia and Big Boobie Bash. It was
Yes,
amazing to have met you, and I cannot wait to speak to you again in any way, because you are such a wonderful person, and it's been such an honor to have met you, and such an honor to come
thank
on
you.
today and talk to you guys about things that I'm very passionate about. And if anyone ever has any questions, or nothing's too silly,
You read
hit me up.
you read my
I'm
mind. Let's put it out. Look, let's put it out there now. I was just going to say the same thing. People listening or watching this on YouTube or Instagram, if you have any questions for Maya, please send them through. I'll put some details, excuse me, in the show notes of this episode, and we'll come back and we'll answer them for you. If you have any questions about sex, I can help you out there. I'm actually sitting surrounded by sex toys here at the moment. So just before we
That sounds
go, Maya,
exciting. I just got like the cutest image in my brain. Like, I just love that. Yes.
one, two,
Please show us. Show us more. Show us
three,
more, Maven.
4. My favourite. This is the
Wow.
Melts by the Vibe. Honestly, if you find yourself getting disconnected during sex, either masturbation or if you're partnered play, this is the go-to for me. My mind wanders a lot, and this brings me back to my zone, and basically it unlocks my orgasm. I can't recommend this
Wow.
highly enough.
Oh,
Okay,
giving me
it actually
chills.
it actually sits on your clitoris and suckles. So I have a
Oh, I
clitoris
have
here.
heard of those. I've heard of that.
Where is it? Just a second. I've got two here. So this is not life size, so please don't get shocked. But this is a 3D model of what the clitoris actually looks like under our vulva. Okay,
Wow.
so you can imagine that part there is the nub that we can actually see and touch, and the bulbs sit under the vulva labia and go down that side. So, when we're in the uterus and developing, we all start out with the same bits and bobs, and then obviously our DNA has instructions. One makes penises, one makes clitoral style um, anatomy. So what I say to people is with the melt, start on the lowest setting first, okay, because it's not going to burn your clit off, but you'll jump out of bed. And instead of putting it directly on there, start in from the side and apply pressure. Okay. And I
Mm.
and I tend to like push and pull away, push and pull away. And I'm actually I don't want to say coaxing, but I feel like I'm drawing my orgasm out, and I can control and I can edge using the melt. Okay. But obviously you get to that point of no return and you just like bleh. So you can find the melts on thespicyboudoir.com. It's on the homepage in our favourites. So
You got me all
Yeah,
inspired
so,
now. I want one.
Another really good Turbo we vibe is their Nova Rabbit. And I've got a cat, so when I have things out to talk, the bloody cat hair gets around them.
Oh, a bit of pussy
So
fur
as you
never
can
hurt
see,
anybody.
true. Mind you, though, pubic hair is a choking hazard.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can relate.
Yeah.
Well groomed,
So,
but doesn't have to be nothing.
so as you can see, it's got internal stimulation, and while that's in your vagina, this is vibrating and buzzing up against your clitoris. Okay, so another really, really good toy. I could talk all day about sex, but I have water yoga to go to this morning, which is my go-to for stress relief. I totally recommend to anybody either yoga, but definitely water yoga if you've got joint issues. So see if there's water yoga near you. And I'm going to do a shout out for the fabulous Anne Noonan here in Brisbane. She's my water yoga instructor, and she's rocking it. She's an older woman rocking it in her world. So
Love that.
Maya, I'm sorry, I have to go. As you know, I'm going to turn into a
That's all right, my
mermaid.
love. Oh, here for it.
Thank
Pro
you. I
mermaid
can't wait to
vibes.
chat with you. This is
What was
going to
that,
be
sorry?
absolutely perfect. I can't wait to chat with you again. So
Oh,
please, people
likewise.
listening, send us through your questions. There'll be an email address in the show notes, and you can just ask us anything.
Yeah.
Just don't be crude and don't be rude.
Respect always.
Yes. We're here to help. Okay, so be nice.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Susan, thank you so
we
much.
will
Have the
be-
best time at water yoga. I'm sure you're going to have the most
I will.
amazing time. So I'm already excited for you.
Oh yeah. No, look, after water yoga, two things are on the cards: either come home and have a big sleep, or I have sex. So,
Those are two pretty good things
this
right
just
there,
gets
my
you in
love.
the zone.
You're obviously very relaxed
Yeah.
afterwards.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, first one, then the other. Why not both? Thank you, my love. It's been a
All right,
pleasure to
Mo.
speak to you.
Thank
Have the
you.
best
Take
day.
care.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. I get to meet the most incredible people. And as you can tell, Maya is one of those incredible, fabulous people stepping into her own power, not giving two hoots about what people think about her. She's followed her dream and she does burlesque and she's bloody good at it. So I've got links down below so that you can follow Maya on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see some gorgeous photos of Maya in costume at the Big Boobie Bash doing her Check Your Melons performance. Now, we would love to come back and chat to you again, so please get in touch. Drop us a message through the details below. And please, wherever you're listening to this today, whether it's YouTube or on a podcast, give us a shout out, share it with your friends, give us a review, help us stand out and get our message out there. That you can do what you want to do, that it's okay to embrace your sexuality and to step into your light. The only person who's going to hold you back will be you. So we're here to give you a shout out. And if you know someone who's doing burlesque, please pass this on if they'd like to have a chat. I'm all ears. Thank you for listening to the Maven's Private Diaries. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and took away some wisdom, chuckles, or inspiration. Let me know your thoughts, either positive or constructive. You could leave me a review on your listening app. So this podcast is the property of Susan Jarvis, me, the Maven. For inquiries, please visit www.thespicyboudoir.com.